In our Law and Justice lead, a man who a court in New York already decided could walk free because he did not get adequate counsel, still faces 17 more years in prison tomorrow. Andre Brown served 23 years of a 40-year sentence for attempted murder. His sentence was vacated in 2022 because of inadequate counsel. His prior legal team hadn't even introduced the physical impossibility, Andre says, of him committing the crime. Witnesses at the scene of a shooting in 1999 saw the perpetrator running. At the time, Andre was recovering from having been shot in the leg, resulting in multiple surgeries and a chronic limp. The lawyer did not introduce that in evidence. But an appeals court, even after his sentence was vacated and he was released, an appeals court disagreed with the lower court vacating his conviction, and Andre now faces 17 more years in prison. Unless, of course, New York Governor Kathy Hochul grants Andre clemency by tomorrow. Andre's lawyer, Oscar Michelin, joins us now. So, Oscar, the governor of New York has until tomorrow to respond to give him clemency so that the 23 years he served are enough. The appeals court does raise some questions we want you to shed light on while Governor Hochul makes this decision. Okay, the appeals court goes into a few reasons why they reversed the court of the lower court that vacated his sentence. They say off the bat that the inadequate counsel defense does not hold up. The appeals court decision reads, it's unclear from the record as to whether Lee, that's Brown's original lawyer, was informed of the existence of such a defense and that he ignored it without investigation, unquote. Can you respond to that?
Sure. Well, thank you for covering the story, Jake. We very much appreciate it. It's important that people understand exactly what happened in Andre's case. So Andre's lawyer before Lee raised it in court, told the judge he couldn't do it because he was unable to run due to a physical injury. So there's no way that Lee was unaware of that because, first of all, Andre told him, and the court that reversed his conviction found Andre credible with that respect and said there was evidence that Lee was aware of the medical impossibility, but just completely neglected it. And so there was certainly more than ample opportunity for Lee to find out that the medical impossibility defense existed and that there was evidence to support it.
So the appeals court also found conflict in Andre's testimony about his injury and his doctor, Dr. Ronald Simon's testimony. Simon had testified that he had no independent memory of the defendant or his medical condition, and he couldn't say with certainty that someone with Andre's condition would not have been able to run at that point in his recovery. We should inform our viewers that all of this took place in 1999. So how do you respond to that the appeals court said, well, we don't know that even if he did have this injury, that meant he couldn't have done this crime?
Well, first of all, as Dr. Simon testified at the hearing, no medical expert could ever testify to 100% certainty. You could only testify as to what medical science would say is a reasonable probability. And what Dr. Simon testified, who was one of Andre's actual surgeons, was that someone with this level of injury and these 3 surgeries, including a full leg skin graft, could not run within 11 months of his last surgery. The discrepancy was that Andre had made a better recovery years later. And Dr. Simon did testify that he would not have expected someone to have recovered that well years later, but he was unequivocal and not really contested at all that within that 11-month period, from the date of Andre's last surgery to the date of this purported crime, and his testimony was no way, no how could a person run.
So we're out of time.
That was pretty clear.
We're out of time, Oscar, but I do want to give you an opportunity to speak directly to Governor Hochul. Why should she offer Andre clemency?
Normally, when you grant clemency, you don't know how someone is going to perform in society because they're in custody. Andre has been out for 2 years. He's a loving father, a supportive parent, and more importantly, is working within the court system. And so he poses no risk to society and no risk to the safety of people in the Bronx. So clemency should be granted and not tear apart a thriving, successful family.
Oscar Michelin, thank you so much. Appreciate your time today.